Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another week of high school football here on Channel 12 in Oxford and Channel 7 in Pontotoc. I'm Brad Kennedy along with Scott McCord. We should have a good one for you tonight. The Pontotoc Warriors coming to town to take on the Oxford Chargers. Oxford 0-1 coming off a loss at Grenada. Pontotoc, they defeated Bruce last week. The big story in Oxford, the return of head coach Johnny Hill after a few years in Tupelo. Folks excited about that, Scott.
They sure are. It's kind of a homecoming for Coach Hill. As he stayed in Tupelo for about 4 seasons, and he's back here at Oxford. I think he's pretty happy to be back home.
With Pontotoc, they are a team that's loaded with talent, a team that lost one game a year ago and one division game and missed the playoffs, and they are determined to get back to the playoffs this year, and a tough division that they play in, Scott.
Surely is. As you look at that division, one team that stands out that they are going to have to deal with later on in the season is Ripley Tigers, which look to be very strong as well.
A team we'll see next week here on Channel 12 in Oxford. So stay with us. It should be a good one. We'll be right back with the kickoff right after this. And we are back here at Oxford, just moments away from the kickoff, as we see the Oxford Chargers taking the field. They were defeated last week at Grenada 26-2, a game in which the Chargers committed 6 turnovers, and you can rest assured that they're looking for a better effort this week as they take on Pontotoc. Pontotoc will get the ball to start this game. They're 1-0. They shut out Bruce a week ago, 31-0. So we'll take a pause here for our national anthem. Well, Scott, there's nothing like the sights and sounds of high school football in North Mississippi. Just moments away from the opening kick. Oxford will kick off to start this game.
Just as last week, Brad, we're going to have to be looking at how these teams are going to hold up under this tremendous heat. Is this still very hot even as the sun's going down right now?
Temperatures over 100 all week. Cooling off a little bit here as we get ready for kickoff. we're just about set to get under the way doing the kicking for Oxford. Jeremy Sims back to receive for Pontotoc. Ron Winter. And Winter comes up and takes the kick. He's got room up the left side, and he's brought down about the 36-yard line of Pontotoc. Good starting field position for the Pontotoc Warriors. Let's take a look at the Pontotoc offensive starting lineups. They are led at quarterback by Jason McBride. The running backs, Kevin Westbrooks and Ellis Scott. The receivers, Brian Rucker and Ron Winter. The tight end, Braden Bishop. The offensive line, Paul Bailey, Mickey Ward, Jonathan Crenshaw, Jeremy Ray, and Eric Finch. There's a handoff, and it's Ellis Scott. And he moves forward, a pickup of about 3 yards up to the Pontotoc 39. Ellis Scott, one of the players, will probably be calling his name a good bit tonight, Scott. He had 80 yards rushing last week, scored a couple of touchdowns. Also a big defensive performer for this Pontotoc team. Second down, they hand it to Scott again. He's going nowhere as a pile of Charger defenders come up to greet him at the line of scrimmage. In fact, they pushed him back, but it looks like they're going to give him the line of scrimmage.
Brad, that's the kind of defensive stand that Oxford's going to have tonight to stay in this ball game and to come out with any chance of winning against this bigger and probably more experienced Warrior team.
That'll bring up third down and about 7. Pontotoc, 2 backs in the backfield, two receivers split to the left. They throw, and they get it out. On the reception, that's Dedrick Clark, and he's going to be, looks like about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. That'll bring up 4th and 2, and the Pontotoc punting unit will come on. In to handle the punting chores tonight is number 80, Braden Bishop. He also plays tight end. Back deep to receive for Oxford, Anthony Smith. The kick is away. Pretty good one. Smith comes up and has it at the 20. Cutting across the field, and he is wrestled down. See who that was on the tackle there, Scott. Looked like number 30, Brian Rucker.
We have a flag on the play as well.
And a flag comes in. He picked up about 5 yards on that return up to the 25. So let's check on the penalty. They appear to be marking it off personal foul against Oxford.
That's definitely not what the Chargers want at this stage of the game, to be backed up well into their own territory, almost back to the 10-yard line to start their first possession.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Oxford on their own 12-yard line. We'll check their lineups as we go along. There's a handoff up the middle, and that's going nowhere. Maybe he got back to the line of scrimmage. I don't know. The Oxford offense, their quarterback, Kent Gowan. The running backs, Nevin Mitchell and Brad Petrie. The receivers, Bart Smith, Anthony Smith, and Donald Cole, the tight end. The offensive line, John Latina, Chris Hudson, Justin Murphy, Josh Ivy, and Willie Redmond. Second down, they gave him 2 yards on that. Second down, 8 from the 14. Gowan back to throw, and he overshoots. That pass was intended for Corey Walls.
The receiver was open there if the pass, though, just sailed a little bit high. Brad, I understand that the Oxford quarterback still isn't really the position still isn't really nailed down to one particular person.
Well, we may see a couple of different guys at quarterback tonight. Turner Barnes will share time with Gowan, and we don't know who else. 3rd down, 9. Ball on the Oxford 14-yard line. 9 minutes to go, first quarter. They run the option. Gowan, he's going to keep it himself. And he's met by a gang of Pontotoc defenders. At about the 18-yard line, he picks up 4. But that's well short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd and about 5. Make it 4th and 5, and the punting unit will come on. Gowan is the punter for Oxford. Back deep to receive for Pontotoc. That looks like Ron Winter. The kick is away.
Good kick.
Driving Winter back. Got some running room, though. A good move there by Winter to get away, and he's into Oxford territory. About the Oxford 44-yard line, we'll call it, and Pontotoc will start their second possession of the night.
Well, that penalty being very costly there. Personal foul backing them way up, and now Pontotoc starts in their own side of the field.
Pontotoc with the I formation. They send a receiver split wide to either side. They give it to Ellis Scott, and he powers forward for a couple of yards.
A little bit of that smash nose football. I believe Pontotoc believes at this point that they can line up and just take it right to Oxford. Maybe try to wear them down here in the first half.
Bring up 2nd down and 8 from the Oxford 42. They put Ellis Scott deep in the backfield. McBride, the quarterback, they give to the front man through. And that's James White with a good run. He's all the way down to the 28-yard line. About a 12-yard, make it a 14-yard pickup.
That Warrior front line at this point just really having some good holes for their running backs to run through.
1st and 10 now for Pontotoc on the Oxford 28. They send 2 receivers to the left side. They give it to Scott, and he's got maybe a couple before he's pushed back. Several Chargers in on the tackle that time. I get the feeling we're going to see several carries by Ellis Scott tonight. That'll bring up 2nd down. About 8 yards to go. 6:45, clock running in the first quarter. No score in the ball game. Pontotoc, McBride back to throw. He swings it out to Scott, and he just lowers the boom on the Oxford defender. Let's see who that was. That was Jason Keller trying to make the stop, but he did slow Scott down just enough. I don't think he even got back to the line of scrimmage there.
It was a very good open field tackle. One thing that you do note about the Pontotoc offensive players, the running backs, quarterbacks, all seem to have good size on them.
They are a big football team. 3rd down, 9. Looked like somebody may have moved early that time, but no flag. There's the give. Brian Rucker, and he's got running room over the left side, and he's going to be close to a 1st down. Let's see where they spot it. He's probably about 1.5 yards shy. That'll bring up 4th down.
Let's see if the Pontotoc coaching staff willing to roll the dice here early in the game and try to punch one in here early.
They are going to elect to go for it. Here on 4th down, they put 3 backs in the backfield. Looks like 2 tight ends.
He didn't make
They
it.
give it to Dedrick Clark, and I don't think he got there. Be a big stop for this Oxford defense if they could hold Pontotoc right there. And indeed, they did not make it.
You know, Coach Hill's got to be pleased about that, Brad.
So the Oxford defense holds, and they'll take over on downs. Oxford will have it. 20. They give it to Mitchell around the left side. He's got maybe a couple of yards. Nevin Mitchell, a guy who will be hearing his name a good bit tonight, carrying the football for Oxford. He picked up actually about 3 yards on that play. That'll bring up 2nd down, 7. From the Oxford 23. We've got a change at quarterback for Oxford. Turner Barnes in on this series, and he tries a quick pass intended for Jason Keller, and it's incomplete.
Oxford going back to the play that was open earlier, and again, the receiver is open there. They just can't make the connection between the quarterback and the receivers with the pass.
So that'll bring up 3rd down and 6 now. 4:18 to go. First quarter, no score in the ball game. Turner Barnes in at quarterback. They hand it off to the first man through. That's Petrie, and he's got running room. So a good run that time by Brad Petrie, the junior fullback. Gets it out to the 37-yard line. Pickup of about 14.
It's like they were in the trap play there, and it worked very well as the Oxford offensive line was able to open a crack wide enough for the running back to slip through there and gain good yardage.
So the Chargers register their first down of the ball game. They send Bart Smith in motion. Penalty flag. Oh, a good backfield stop that time for Pontotoc. That was Rob Pickett.
I believe it'll be motion against Oxford. Pontotoc going to decline and take the loss on the play.
A 7-yard loss on that play. Bring up 2nd down, 17.
It's just the kind of thing you don't want to happen offensively. It just kills a drive once something like that happens a lot of times.
They've got Mitchell, the deep back. 2 receivers split wide to either side. They hand off Petrie. And he weaves his way for a very small gain, if any, and a penalty flag comes in on the end of that play.
Something tells me it had something to do with that pile that went down all in one wide there, because that's exactly where the official was aiming when he threw that flag in there.
Personal foul, face mask.
No indication as to which team it's on yet.
Against Pontotoc. So a big break for Oxford.
Well, Oxford gave them a personal foul early, and now Pontotoc returns the favor with a personal foul here.
So a few moments ago, Pontotoc was deep in Oxford territory, moving the football very well, and now we've had a couple of plays go the way of the Chargers. 1st and 10 now. No, they say 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1. Turner Barnes on the keeper around the left end, and he's got the 1st down, and he's out across midfield, right at midfield. Pickup of about 4. So the Oxford offense beginning to move with the help of a Pontotoc penalty. First and 10 from the 50. Barnes keeps it himself. And he's got 5, maybe 6 yards. Now into Pontotoc territory.
Barnes just showing some good decision making here as they run in the option and decide to keep it there and tuck it in and run and gain good yardage.
That'll bring up second down 4, 2:45 to play in the first quarter. First quarter moving along rather quickly.
Brad, if you're Oxford at this point, I think you're very happy with how the game is progressing. And last week they couldn't keep the ball in their hands for turning it over, and they've done a good job so far of not turning the football over.
Well, Coach Hill said he was pleased with the effort, but they just need to work on their execution. There's a give to Petrie. He slips one tackle, and now he's finally held up by a gang of Pontotoc defenders, and he picks up maybe 2 yards.
Oxford trying these really quick hits with Petrie, trying to break through that line very quickly as they did just a little while ago as we saw him pick up the first down, but limited success overall on that try.
Third down 3 for the Chargers. Good running back combination with Petrie and Mitchell in there. Now it looks like Andre Redden, the deep back. Fortenberry split wide to the left. Here's Barnes on the keeper again, and another first down. Barnes straight up the middle, and they're not afraid to run right at this Pontotoc defense.
I believe number 10 may be telling Coach Hill that he wants to stay in there a little while longer.
Well, they call it fourth down. They say he did not get there. So a big fourth down decision here for Coach Johnny Hill. And it appears that Oxford will go for it. Big play early in the ball game. Barnes again, and I don't think he got there, Scott.
Big stop by Pontotoc there. Stops that Oxford momentum offensively right on the 40-yard line.
So he just barely got back to the line of scrimmage. He only needed about half a yard, if even that much. So for the second time in this ball game, a team turns it over on downs.
I still think, though, the Oxford coaching staff has to be pleased with putting that long of a drive together and sustaining it.
They're going to measure this, Scott. And I can't blame the Oxford coaches for wanting a measurement here. And
it's short.
It's still short. The official's not going to change their mind.
You hear it called a game of inches. That couldn't have been short by over 4 or 5 inches at the most.
First down for Pontotoc. That's McBride on the keeper. Picks up close to 7 yards. Nevin Mitchell on the stop for Oxford.
Had my eyes playing tricks on me too. It looked like he was farther down the field before they measured than after he measured, but official saying he did not make a first down on third down, so ball goes over.
Should be the last play of the first quarter. Ellis Scott on the pitch, and he's going to have the first down and then some for Oxford, for Pontotoc into Oxford territory.
Scott showing some power there as he was literally dragging a couple of Oxford defenders with him as he goes for the first down.
Pickup of about 11 yards. We got 7.9 seconds to play. And the horn sounds on the first quarter. We won't get the playoff. So at the end of one, we are scoreless in Oxford between Pontotoc and Oxford. You're watching high school football on Galaxy Channel 12 and Cable Channel 7. We're back here at Bobby Holcomb Field in Oxford. Brad Kennedy along with Scott McCord, Rob Morgan. Tonight's game brought to you by our Pontotoc sponsors: Tudor Funeral Home, Jackson Implement Company, Montgomery Drugs, and the First National Bank of Pontotoc. Some of our Oxford sponsors: Treasurer's Jewelry, Pylon Wholesale Furniture, Dr. Watt Bishop, and Johnson's Furniture. And first and 10 for Pontotoc. And nothing doing. That was James White. And it looks like he lost a couple of yards there, Scott.
Yeah, the Oxford defense really doing a good job of getting more than one defender to the ball and driving these offensive players backwards.
Oh, my mistake. He picked up.
Like 2 yards.
He picked up 2. But the pile sure went the other way. Second down 8. Pontotoc wants a timeout, so that will give us an opportunity to tell you about some more of our sponsors here on high school football. In Oxford, this game being brought to you by Glenn Brown Insurance, by Belk Ford, by Mechanics Bank, Taco Bell, Oxford Dental Clinic, State Farm Insurance agents Tom Davis and Marty Stark, Grisanti Rebel Motors, Hunter's Hollow, and Ray's Supermarket. The rest of our Pontotoc sponsors: JB's Quick Stop, Russell Oil Company, the People's Bank of Pontotoc, Hangouts Daycare, Ken Nowlin Insurance and Ecru, OneCallInc.com, JC Arrow there, Daffodils Gift Shop, Charlie Robinson Cattle Buyers, Springer Discount Homes, and Stegall Ford in Pontotoc. 11:16 to go, second quarter, no score in the game. On a warm night in Oxford. Second down 8 from the Oxford 43. Pontotoc going deep. He's got Winter out there, but he overshot him.
Maybe a case there, Brad, where the wide receiver would have kept running in stride there, that the ball might have been where he could have at least made a good attempt at catching it. But it looks like that he and the quarterback didn't quite understand where the other one was going at that point.
Winter had a step on the defender. That's the first time we've seen either team, though, try to take it deep down the field.
That's correct. Sure seen a lot more passing in this game than we did last week in the Lafayette-Amory game.
Well, Lafayette didn't have to. 3rd and 8. McBride under pressure, gets it away. Dedrick Clark with the reception. And a good pickup that time. That'll move the chains for Pontotoc. About a 13-yard gain that time for Dedrick Clark.
I want to tell you, Brad, I don't envy these Oxford defenders trying to stop that big guy, because he's a load coming out of that backfield.
Pontotoc has got some big running backs and receivers. 1st and 10 now. Ball on the Oxford 30. Pontotoc driving again. McBride on the keeper. He's got about 4 yards, but a penalty marker is down, and we'll see what that is.
That's normally in the vicinity where you see offensive holding.
And indeed, that is the penalty. So that will wipe out that run. Pontotoc already with 3 penalties in this game. A couple of them personal fouls.
Just not the type of penalty you need when you're getting a little momentum and driving the ball down the field.
With 2 penalties on Pontotoc. The other personal foul on Oxford. So that backs the Warriors up. First down, 21 to go. McBride rolling to his right, looking for Ron Winter, and he has it to him at about the 29-yard line, a pickup of 12.
Pontotoc offensive line just did a great job there, as the quarterback had all day to look to see who he could find downfield, and was able to make a good throw there and pick up most of the yardage that was lost due to the penalty.
So they're back almost, well, a little bit past the original line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 2nd and 9. A little bit of confusion down on the field. And now we're ready to go. Sometimes it's not just confusion in the booth, Scott.
That's right.
2nd down and 9. They pitch it to Clark. Has a good run, a good tackle that time. For Oxford, Clay Youngblood. On the stop, Dedrick Clark.
Brad, if Youngblood doesn't make that play, Pontotoc has a huge gain there, maybe even a touchdown. So just a touchdown saving tackle there.
3rd down, 4 for the Warriors. Driving now into Oxford territory. I formation. And it's McBride. I don't know if he ever got that ball handed off. Looks like he gave it. No, McBride was the ball carrier. I couldn't tell if he handed it off or not.
I think they were wrestling for it. They didn't want neither one of them wanted to give it up.
Got a 2-yard pickup that time for Jason McBride.
Looks like Pontotoc may go for it on 4th down.
4th and about a yard.
You're in that section of the field where it's probably a little too long to kick a field goal, and you're not going to gain any yardage really by punting the ball. So what you have to lose.
Robert Bass, the Pontotoc kicker, he had a field goal last week. They give it to Clark, and he powers his way over the right side, and he has a 1st down to the Oxford 17-yard line. 4-yard pickup.
You better wait for that official's arm to go forward, Brad, on these 1st down calls. But this time the arm goes forward. They say Pontotoc 1st and 10.
Ball on the Oxford 17. 8 minutes, 10 seconds to go 1st quarter. They send a man in motion to the right, and they give it to him. That's Brian Rucker, and he's around the right side. A couple of players in on the stop for the Chargers. But Rucker on the sweep picks up about 6 yards.
A little misdirection play there by Pontotoc, something that we haven't seen until now from this offense.
2nd down, 4. They pitch it to Scott. He's got a big hole, and he's down to the 4-yard line, make it the 3. A lot of running room that time on the left side for Ellis Scott.
This Pontotoc Warrior offensive line is just really punishing Oxford on this drive right here and overpowering them. We got to see if Oxford can make this goal line stand to keep Pontotoc out of the end zone at this point.
We're seeing a bruising running attack right now for Pontotoc. First down, goal to go from the 4. There's Clark, and he hurdles an Oxford defender, and he's in for the touchdown. So the Warriors draw first blood. 6-0. Dedrick Clark with a 4-yard run for the score.
Looked almost Herschel Walker-esque, didn't it, as he dove into the end zone.
He wasn't going to let anybody stand in his way. Robert Bass in to try the extra point. It's up, and it's good. So with 7:11 to play in the first quarter, it's 7-0. Pontotoc on top. You're watching high school football on cable channel 12 in Oxford and cable channel 7 in Pontotoc. Seven to nothing. There's the kickoff. It's deep into the end zone, and it will be a touchback. So Oxford will start at their own 20. Pontotoc, a grueling drive that took over 6.5 minutes off the clock and went 60 yards. Several big running plays, a couple of pass completions, but the 4-yard run for the touchdown by Dedrick Clark made it 7-0. And that's where we stand with 7:11 to go here in the second quarter of play. First and 10 for the Chargers from their own 20. Kent Gowan back in at quarterback. Nevin Mitchell, the lone setback. There's a snap. Gowan under pressure, being chased, and he's brought down on the left side. Kevin Westbrooks with the tackle. Looks like about a 6-yard loss.
This is a drive where the Oxford offense needs to step up, keep the ball in their hands for a period of time here, keep the Pontotoc offense off the field and try to get a score of some kind right here.
Well, they moved the ball well for a while on the last drive, but then when they couldn't get that first down on 4th and about a half a yard, that was a crucial play. I think that's an understatement. Second down, 16. Ball on the 14-yard line. They give it to Mitchell on the pitchback. He makes a move, slips a tackle. Got running room. Nevin Mitchell with a first down, and he's still going. Nevin Mitchell down the sidelines to the 20, to the 10, and he's all the way in for the score. Nevin Mitchell with an 86-yard touchdown run, and the Chargers have a chance to even this game.
What a way to score your first touchdown of the season.
That's right. That's the first time that Oxford has crossed the goal line this year.
Well, Brad, I'm glad that they're listening to me as they call their plays here. They needed a touchdown there, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, good call right there. Little swinging gate action here on the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. Ryan Chadwick with the extra point. With 6:09 to play first quarter, we are even. 7-7 here in Oxford. We'll take a short break. You're watching high school football on cable channel 12 in Oxford and cable channel 7 in Pontotoc. Second quarter, and this crowd has just been delighted by an 86-yard touchdown run by Nevin Mitchell. There's the kickoff from Sims, and it's deep. Winter, he has it, and he's got a big hole. Ron Winter with the kickoff return. Good tackle by Andre Redden, or he might have been off to the races. Pontotoc will start first and 10 on their own 43. So it appears now that we have an official's timeout on the field, so we'll keep it right here. Well, when it looked like that Pontotoc was about to take over this ball game. A big play by Nevin Mitchell, and Nevin Mitchell is a guy that last year, when I watched some tapes of Oxford, he was just all over the field, making tackles, making runs, scored 10 touchdowns last year for the Chargers, and we expected to see a lot of him here tonight. Good athlete, and he was a guy that the coaches even thought about giving a try at quarterback, Scott. We talked earlier about the quarterback rotation that Oxford has, and he would certainly be exciting as a quarterback.
Well, when you have a young team such as Oxford has, the stars on the team, the leaders on the team have to emerge in games like this and really show the leadership and lead the way to for these younger guys to follow.
6:02 to play first quarter. Good crowd on hand here tonight on a hot night. Been hot all over North Mississippi this week. Hot and dry. A little bit better today, though. 1st and 10 now, ball on the Oxford 43 for Pontotoc. There's the little play action on the fake pitch, and the pass is batted down.
That was Youngblood again, getting in there, the quarterback. We've seen him make now at least 2 key defensive plays that I know of, Brad.
Second down, 10 for Pontotoc. And now they want a timeout. That's their second timeout. So a lack of organization here for Pontotoc. So as they take that timeout, we'll take one as well. With 5:57 to go in the second quarter, it's 7-7. You're watching high school football on Channel 12 and Channel 7. We're back here in Oxford. Second down, 10 for Pontotoc. On the halfback pass, they throw it deep down the field. Jump ball, Ron Winter has it. Brian Rucker. They pitched it to him. Rucker threw it deep down the field. And Ron Winter made the catch for Pontotoc, and that will be another first down. They're all the way down at the 29. A 38-yard completion that time. By far the biggest pass play of the night. 1st and 10 for Pontotoc. Jeff Kirk, the running back, around the right side. And he picks up about 8 yards, make it 9. Several players getting an opportunity to carry the ball early in this ball game for Pontotoc.
Brad, Pontotoc wastes no time getting back to the line.
They are moving. This game is moving along very quickly. And now we've got some movement. All the Oxford players pointing at one of the Pontotoc linemen.
It's on Oxford.
So they call it on the Chargers. That gives Pontotoc a first down deep into Oxford territory. Wayne Kyrett, the referee here tonight. 1st and 10 for Pontotoc on the Oxford 15. There's the pitch. Jeff Kirk over the left side. And he picks up a couple of yards. On the stop that time for Oxford, Vincent Camper. Good open field tackle that time, but not before Kurt had picked up 3 yards. So Pontotoc appears to be just rotating all of their running backs. Kurt goes out. Big Ellis Scott back into the game now. The deep back. James White, the up back. They give it to White. He's got a big hole up the middle, and he's down to the 2-yard line. On the stop that time for Oxford, Carlos Miller. He saved the touchdown.
Well, I don't know exactly how he got through there. It looked like Oxford had it pretty much snuffed out, but he snuck through there and just almost had the TD before they were able to bring him down.
First and goal from Pontotoc, about the 2.5-yard line. Handoff Clark, and nothing doing as he tried to run over the left guard.
Like Youngblood and others in on that tackle. Well, definitely one of these games is shaping up to be where you might not want to go get a sandwich until we go to break, or you're probably going to miss a big play.
So Pontotoc is forced to use another timeout here as there was some confusion, and they have used 3 timeouts here in the first half. So we'll keep it right here. 2:53 to go in the half. A big opportunity here for Oxford if they could somehow turn Pontotoc away and keep this ball game tied.
I think even if they hold them to a field goal here, that at this point, being on a 2 with first down and goal, your defense would get somewhat of a lift, even just holding them to 3.
Well, Scott, both of these teams play in very tough divisions. Pontotoc, Division I 3A. We talked a little bit in the opening about some of their competition. Of course, the team that you hear a lot about in the early going, Ripley, and they are going to be very strong. We'll see them on cable channel 12 in Oxford next week as they take on these Oxford Chargers. This division very competitive. Pontotoc, they lost 1 division game last year and did not make the playoffs, and that just shows you how tough that this district can be. Kossuth, they've been pretty strong the last couple of years. McBride on the rollout, and he's got his man, Dedrick Clark, and that's a touchdown for Pontotoc, and they go up 13-7 on the touchdown pass from McBride to Clark. We'll have the extra point try now, Robert Bass. And that kick's going nowhere. It was a low line drive. I don't know if one of the Oxford players got a hand on it or not, but it's no good. So with 2:49 to play in the half, Pontotoc leads it 13-7. You're watching high school football on cable channel 12 in Oxford and cable channel 7 in Pontotoc. We're back at Oxford. The kickoff goes deep at the 1-yard line. Andre Redden has it. He's out to the 20, and he slips a tackle down the sideline. Good move to make a man miss. And he's out over the 33-yard line. Good return that time by Redden. 1st and 10 for the Chargers at their own 33, 2:41 to go. Plenty of time here in this first half. Pontotoc scored on a big drive, but they missed the extra point, and we'll see if that comes back to hurt Pontotoc. And I think I just killed the bug that was down in my shirt. Turner Barnes in at quarterback. Pass complete for a short gain. Jason Keller on the completion. He picked up about 4 yards.
Pontotoc being able to control the ball for long periods of time on offense, and a lot of times, especially with this heat, it takes a toll on your defensive unit later on in the game. So I think that's probably the game plan of the Pontotoc Warriors at this point, to just keep the ball and try to wear Oxford down defensively.
Second down, about 6. That's the first pass completion tonight that we have for Oxford. Barnes rolling to his left. Under pressure, now goes right. He's going to run. Oh, good tackle that time by the Pontotoc defender, Rob Pickett. Turner Barnes tried the left side, and nothing but Pontotoc Warriors there. And he came back to the right. Looked like he might have had some running room. But Rob Pickett was there to make the stop, and so Oxford uses a timeout here in the first half with 1:37 to go. We'll keep it right here. A loss of a yard that time.
I don't believe the Oxford quarterback was real happy with his receivers there, as he went a good 15 yards downfield to discuss it with one of them, and must not have run the correct pass route there on that particular play.
As you look at the crowd here at Bobby Holcomb Field, good crowd in attendance tonight. Labor Day weekend. A lot of things going on all over North Mississippi. A lot of things going on here in Oxford. The Tulane Green Wave in town to take on the Ole Miss Rebels in their first game of the season. Of course, a lot of these folks, like me, will be headed out to do a little dove hunting early in the morning.
Opening day of hunting season here in the state of Mississippi.
Always a big tradition. Going to be hot out there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any birds going to be able to fly tomorrow. It's so hot.
They'll be looking for water.
Maybe be able to eat them as soon as you shoot them.
Flags come in from everywhere. Illegal procedure, the call on Oxford. And that will back them up. Before that play ever gets underway. So the Oxford offense struggling a little bit now. 1:36 to play. Third down, about 14 yards to go. Barnes scrambling to his left. He's in trouble. He gets the pass away to Redden, and Redden slips a tackle. Redden picks up about 8 yards before he's stopped by a gang of Pontotoc defenders.
Brad, at this point, it looks as though the Oxford offense needs to just settle down. Almost looks as though there's a little panic on the field right now. I'm sure Coach Hill is glad it's almost halftime to get his offensive unit in and just talk to them and get them settled down a little bit.
Well, we've got fourth down. Oxford going to punt. Of course, they want to use as much time off the clock as they can. We're under 50 seconds to play, and now we have a timeout. Oxford takes a timeout. 46 6/10 seconds to go, so we'll keep it right here. That will give us an opportunity to talk about some of the people who bring you high school football. Some of our Pontotoc sponsors: Tudor Funeral Home, Jackson Implement Company, Montgomery Drugs, First National Bank in Pontotoc, JB's Quick Stop, Russell Oil Company, the People's Bank of Pontotoc. Some of our Oxford sponsors: Treasures Jewelry, Pile and Wholesale Furniture, Dr. Watt Bishop, Johnson's Furniture, Glenn Brown Insurance, Belk Ford, and Mechanics Bank, with locations in Water Valley and Oxford. We talked a little bit about Division I 3A. Oxford plays in another very tough division, Division I 4A. Of course, we had the game here in Oxford last week between Lafayette and Amory, and I think we said during that game that that would surprise a lot of people, the 31-13 victory, and everywhere I went on Friday, that's all people wanted to talk about was this Lafayette football team, and are they for real?
Certainly a very large group of young men there in Lafayette County.
Fourth down, Oxford going for it. They're going to try and run out the clock. No, they throw it deep, and it's incomplete. Probably a smart play that time by the Pontotoc defender to let that ball fall to the ground. Well, no doubt a smart play. So Pontotoc will take over on downs. Oxford gambling that they can keep Pontotoc out of the end zone for 37 more seconds. Here before halftime, 1st and 10 for Pontotoc. Ball on the Oxford 37-yard line. McBride back to throw, under pressure. Screen pass, Ron Winter. He slips away from a man. And Nevin Mitchell finally comes in and makes a stop, but a penalty marker is down.
I believe that's probably going to be offensive holding on number 30 of Pontotoc.
You are correct, sir. So that will negate that completion, but they didn't really gain anything off of that anyway.
Brad, seems a bizarre play for almost a Hail Mary type pass with 37 seconds to go in the half.
28.2 seconds to play in the half. 1st down and 22 for Pontotoc. Play action. They try the right side on the pass, and it's incomplete. Intended for number 85.
Youngblood just drilled the Pontotoc quarterback there just as he threw that football.
.20 seconds to go in the half. 2nd down, 22 for Pontotoc. McBride rolling to his right and throws it right through the hands of Ron Winter. .15 seconds to go now in the half. 3rd down, 22. I'd like to thank the Oxford policemen for returning our roster that got away from us. The sound you hear is Scott McCord putting his headset back on. 3rd down, 22 for Pontotoc. They pitch it. Ellis Scott.
Look out.
Ellis Scott, I think he has enough for the 1st down, Scott, and he's out of bounds. So Pontotoc will have one more chance with 6.8 seconds to play. Ellis Scott with a 22-yard pickup. Enough for the 1st down.
If you're Oxford, you don't want that guy out in the open field because he's hard to bring down.
They're going to try a long field goal here. Robert Bass. Be a 42-yard field goal attempt from Bass. There's a snap. The kick is up. It's plenty high. And playing good. A good kick that time.
That thing would have been good from 50.
Good leg that time, Robert Bass. So
just 1 second left in the half, Brad.
1.4 seconds. So Oxford gamble. They were trying to keep Pontotoc off the board with less than a minute to go in the half. But a big run by Ellis Scott to set up a 42-yard field goal attempt that time.
All we need to cap this half off, Brad, is a punt return right here to end the half. And I think we pretty much have seen everything offensively you could see for one half of football.
Well, that would delight these Oxford fans and coaches. Redden back deep to receive. And Jason Keller. Bass ready to kick off. You know that he has to be pumped up after nailing that big field goal. See if he can kick it out of the end zone. And they kick it on the ground. And that will do it for the first half. We're at halftime here in Oxford. The Pontotoc Warriors leading the Oxford Chargers 16-7. You're watching high school football on Cable Channel 12 in Oxford and Cable Channel 7 in Pontotoc. And we are back here at Oxford. Halftime, the Pontotoc Warriors leading the Oxford Chargers 16-7 on the strength of a pretty impressive running attack there in the first half. We saw two very nice drives for Pontotoc, one over 60 yards, another good drive. Then we saw a field goal by Robert Bass right before the half. Oxford, their offense highlighted mostly by the 86-yard run for a touchdown by Nevin Mitchell.
Yeah, Brad, you're pretty much seeing the Pontotoc offensive punch being up front with those big offensive linemen and letting these punishing running backs really get out in the open field and do some damage.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers. Total yards rushing for Pontotoc, 121 yards, led by Ellis Scott with 46. Passing, Jason McBride, he was 5 of 9 for 30 yards. The big play for Pontotoc, a halfback pass. Number 31, he completed a pass for 38 yards, 68 yards passing, 68 yards receiving for Pontotoc, 257 total yards. A good offensive performance. For Oxford, not as much offense, 128 total yards, 104 of that came on the ground, and as we mentioned earlier, 86 coming on the big Nevin Mitchell touchdown run. 2 of 4 passing, Barnes for 12 yards, and that was about the extent of the Oxford offense. We're just about ready to start the second half. 16-7 the score. You're watching high school football here on cable channel 12 in Oxford and channel 7 in Pontotoc. We'll be right back. We are back in Oxford, ready to start the second half. 16-7, Pontotoc leading.
One of the things about that first half, Brad, that you have to look at is the time of possession. Roughly, Pontotoc had the ball two minutes for Oxford every 1 minute. And so anytime you're looking at that, especially as hot as it is and when you talk about fatigue, that certainly plays into the offensive hand that's able to keep the ball in their possession. So I think Oxford has to do a better job of sustaining some drives here early in the second half.
Oxford will get the ball to start this second half. Bass ready to kick off. Redden and Keller back deep to receive. You may have to give me a second here, Scott, while I fire our statistician. Redden with the catch at the goal line. Down the left sideline. Good move, Andre Redden. Slips another tackle. He's got running room into Pontotoc territory at the 44-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds. Good starting field position for the Chargers. That's just what they needed to start this second half. Andre Redden, number 19, doing a good job on that kickoff return. When you look at the statistics at the time of possession, it was almost 2-1 Pontotoc there in the first half, and they really dominated this game, but a couple of big plays kept the Chargers in it, and that was a big play right there. Kent Gowan back in at quarterback. The give is to Mitchell. He's up the middle, still running. Pickup of about 4 yards. Make it 5 yards. Second down and 5. And the Pontotoc 40-yard line. Just underway here in the second half from Oxford. A warm, muggy night. Mitchell, the deep back, they give it to him. Not much running room. Maybe he got back to the line of scrimmage.
The Pontotoc defense kind of picking back up where they left off there at the end of the first half.
That brings up third down and 5 for the Chargers. Trailing in the ball game, 16-7. Going with this full house backfield. 2 tight ends. They give it to Mitchell again. Good running, twisting and turning is Nevin Mitchell. He's finally brought down by Brian Rucker. A couple of other Warrior defenders, but not before he picks up an Oxford first down. So the Chargers come out moving the ball effectively here in the second half.
It's what they have to do at this point. They just have to keep their offense on the field, let the defense rest for a little while, and get a little confidence back offensively.
First and 10 for the Chargers. Again, Mitchell. Over the right side, maybe a couple of yards. Down to the 30. It would be so big right here if Oxford could somehow drive this thing down and get a score.
Yeah, you're not in a position at this point, I don't believe, Brad, where it's a must-score situation, but certainly to keep this momentum and get a little momentum going, it would be nice for them to get a score of some type right here.
Second down 8. They fake the handoff to Mitchell. Gowan on the rollout. He's got running room. He's down to the 14, make it the 16-yard line. Good run that time by Kent Gowan. So we're seeing Gowan have a good start to this second half. He was not very effective on his time at quarterback. Turner Barnes did manage to move the team up and down the field a little bit. But now Gowan having some success here in this second half. Oxford going with this power attack. 2 tight ends, full house backfield. Redden the deep back. They give it to Andre Redden. He's got room over the left side. Look like Ellis Scott, the big linebacker, on the tackle. But Redden with a good gain. About a 6-yard pickup. Down to the 10.
So far this half, this Oxford offense looks like a totally different unit than what we were seeing just prior to the end of the first half, as they look more organized and they're executing very well at this point.
Well, they haven't attempted to spread the field at all. They're just piling it right in the middle, and it's working. Fumble on the play. They tried to hand it off to Mitchell. He couldn't get a handle. Pontotoc says they have it. The official, and they do. So the turnover bug comes back to bite Oxford. They were driving, moving the ball well deep into Pontotoc territory, and then a costly fumble, and that's just what happened to them last week, Scott.
Just not what you wanted to see happen at that point if you're Oxford. The momentum was definitely going their way. It looked as though at the worst they were going to get a field goal, and they just put the ball on the ground and turn it over.
So Pontotoc takes over, 1st and 10 from their own 10. Man. Here's a handoff up the middle to the fullback. James White picks up maybe half a yard. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. A big blow for the Oxford Chargers to have to overcome here early in this second half. They give it to Scott. He's around the right side. They string it out, and he picks up about 6 yards, maybe 7. Call it 6. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Several big games around the area tonight, sort of a rivalry week. We had several games last night. Of course, in Pontotoc County, we've got the Battle of Pontotoc, North and South Pontotoc, as Ellis Scott battles his way for a 1st down. Out to the 24-yard line. Good running that time by Scott.
Also, Brad, tonight a game between Hamilton and Hatley that certainly I'm sure the Hamilton Tigers will be heavy-hearted tonight as they go to battle without their teammate that tragically passed away shortly after football practice earlier this summer.
Adrian Armstrong had the heart condition and passed away one evening after football practice. Another big rivalry game last night that ended on a sad note. Faulkner and Walnut up in Tippah County. The Walnut head coach, Joe Horton, collapsed at halftime and was rushed to the hospital, and he passed away. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Coach Horton and the Walnut players and fans as we have a heat timeout. But
I believe one of the officials was injured on that last play, and it's officials timeout to see if the official's going to be able to continue.
we often talk about players getting hurt, but it's a dangerous game for those officials out there. They're in the middle of the action. Some other big games around the area in Calhoun County. Big battle down there. Bruce and Calhoun City, always tough. You're seeing a lot of games tonight from teams that are neighbors, but maybe not in the same division. So we're seeing these rivalry games early in the year. Saltillo at Baldwin, a game that was played last night. Baldwin put 70 points on the board and beat Saltillo 70-34 in a very high-scoring ball game. Another rivalry game in Alcorn County. Alcorn Central defeated Biggersville last night. Another game here in our area tonight that a lot of people are interested in, Water Valley at Coffeyville. the Battle of Yalobusha County. 2nd down and 8 now for Pontotoc from their own 26. There's a handoff up the middle. Maybe a couple of yards.
One other game of interest, Brad, I think we'll see Boonville, the 2A state champions of last year, get a big test tonight at a Corinth. Corinth is a 3A school that is in the division with Pontotoc, and both of these teams will have to play pretty good ball games to come out with a W in that game.
Boonville with a 16-game winning streak on the line. They're the #1 ranked team in the Little 10 poll. There's the pitch. Clark, power running over the left side, and he just lowered the shoulder right there. Took a couple of Oxford defenders with him. It's going to be close to a first down. We have an official's timeout on the field. Looks like they're going to bring the chains across.
Brad, one losing streak ended last night in the community college ranks as Northeast won their first game since the 1998 season, ending a long drought there, beating, I believe it was Jones Community College. So hats off to the Northeast Tigers as they end the losing streak and get their season off on a winning note.
21-12, the Tigers defeated Jones County. Other junior college action last night, Northwest with a big victory, and Itawamba losing their season opener last night. We have the measurement, and it looks like he's going to be short. 4th down and 1. Let's see what Pontotoc elects to do right here. Looks like they're going to go for it.
See if they may try to draw Oxford off sides here and not even have to snap the football.
2 tight ends, full house backfield. Looks like Clark, the deep back, and they call timeout.
That was the plan. They were not going to go right there. They were just going to try to draw Oxford offside with some hard counts by the quarterback, but the Oxford defensive line stayed patient and stayed at home.
So we've got a timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. 4:57 to go. 16-7, Pontotoc on top. We're back here in Oxford. 4th and 1. Pontotoc about to punt. They get the punt away. It's a good one. Anthony Smith on the catch. Good block that time. Ball loose on the field.
Pontotoc had it.
Pontotoc has recovered. Another turnover by Oxford. Ellis Scott with the fumble recovery. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Warriors. Tough break that time for Oxford. They give it to James White, and he's got a little bit of running room, but not much.
Well, as Oxford went the entire first half without losing the football one time, the turnover bug has struck them twice here early in the second half.
4:18 to go, 3rd quarter. McBride back to throw, and that pass very nearly picked off. Carius Miller had his hands on it. We'll take an opportunity to remind you that high school football in Oxford brought to you by your friends at Taco Bell, by Oxford Dental Clinic, by State Farm Insurance agents Tom Davis and Marty Stark, by Grisanti Rebel Motors, Hunter's Hollow, and Ray's Supermarket. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors in Oxford and Pontotoc. There's the pitch. They string it out. Not much there on the left side. Rucker, the ball carrier. There's Youngblood in on the tackle. And Josh Ivy.
Number 55, Youngblood, has had quite a ball game on defense tonight. He's had several key stops and been in the quarterback's face several times, just disrupting the Pontotoc offense.
That brings up 4th down. 4th and 14 for Pontotoc, and they're going to go for it. McBride, play action, being chased by Petrie, gets a pass away, and it's incomplete. Good coverage that time for Oxford. That was Keller. Petrie getting in the backfield and rushing Jason McBride before he could get that pass away. So the Oxford Chargers will take over on downs, and that will give us an opportunity to mention our Pontotoc sponsors: Hangouts Daycare, Ken Allen Insurance and Crew, OneCallInc.com and J.C. Aaron, Daffodils Gift Shop, Charlie Robinson Cattle Buyers, Springer Discount Homes, and Stegall Ford, bringing you high school football in Pontotoc. Thanks to all of those folks for making this possible. 1st down, Mitchell on the carry over the right side. He picked up a couple of yards, and he is pushed out of bounds, pushes a couple of Oxford assistant coaches and reserves. Got an Oxford player hurt on the sideline. Donald Cole.
Well, you may have some cramps, which we're probably going to see a lot of here in the second half, with bodies getting a little bit dehydrated and those muscles just wanting to cramp up on these players.
Got a 2-yard gain on that play for Mitchell. 2nd down, 8. Ball on the Oxford 33-yard line. Barnes in at quarterback. They pitch it to Redden around the left side. Being chased, and he's got running room enough for the 1st down. Good run that time by Andre Redden, and he's been impressive tonight just about every time he's touched the football.
Showing some speed there, getting around the outside, as it looked as though the Pontotoc defender had him in his sights, but just outran him to the corner and was able to pick up a nice gain there.
So a 1st down for Oxford, and they're just dodging bullets right and left here in this 3rd quarter. Turned the ball over twice. There's a handoff. Redden, he hurdles a man, and now he's pushed back. Dedrick Clark, first man through on the tackle. Brings up 2nd down, 10.
Just a nice defensive stand by the Warriors there, as that defensive front broke through the offensive line of Oxford to stop that for no gain.
We're under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Andre Redden comes to the sidelines and out of the game. Vincent Camper, the deep back, and that's who they give it to. Camper picks up about 3 yards on the carry.
Seems as though we're seeing a much more simplified offensive look for the Chargers in the second half, and a little bit more effective at times that we've seen, where the Chargers have been able to hang on to the football and not fumble it away to Pontotoc.
One thing that Coach Hill said when I talked to him earlier in the week was, you know, this team, they don't really know what they do well yet. They're trying to run the ball some, pass the ball some, and see what they can be effective with. Camper with a nice run out to the 50.
Number 82 for the Warriors may have saved a touchdown right there, as he made an excellent one-on-one tackle there on the corner.
So that's 4th down, about a yard to go. Big play here for Oxford as they elect to go for it. Trailing in the ball game 16-7. We go under 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Handoff, Camper, and he looks to be close to the first down. 21 seconds to go in the quarter, and we'll have to have a measurement on this one. Oxford got the short end of a measurement there in the first half.
He definitely earned that half a yard. Brad, I understand that the Oxford High School is attempting to upgrade some of their sports facilities.
Well, that's one of the things that Coach Hill trying to work on. They want to do some work on the track here around the field. They're looking at building a new field house and a girls' softball field. They're also doing some work on the visitors' bleachers. Oxford has earned a first down as they try to hang on in this ball game and not get any further behind. Coach Hill was pleased with the effort his team had on defense and the special teams last week. They just turned the ball over too many times, 6 times in fact, against a good Grenada team, and you just can't get by with that. 1st and 10. Camper again. He picks up maybe 3 yards as the quarter comes to an end. We've played 3 quarters here in Oxford. The Pontotoc Warriors lead it 16-7. You're watching high school football on cable channel 12 in Oxford and channel 7 in Pontotoc. We're back to action here in Oxford. 2nd down. 3 yards to go for the Chargers. We begin the 4th quarter. Now we got a timeout on the field by Oxford. We'll keep it right here.
Coach Hill saw something in that Pontotoc line that he didn't like, because he was frantically trying to get someone's attention to call timeout before that play took place.
Good crowd in attendance for both sides at this game tonight. Pontotoc fans are very excited about their team, and well, they should be. I was listening to Coach Terry Allen at Ripley on his weekly radio show earlier in the week, and he had nothing but praise for this Pontotoc team. He said this is one of the best teams that they've had in years, and certainly you have to look down the line at when those two teams play as a battle possibly for that division title.
One other game would be of interest tonight to the Division 4A is the Itawamba game, as they go and as Kossuth travels down and tests the IHS Indians tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how that game turns out.
We'll have those Itawamba Indians here in about 3 weeks on Channel 12 in Oxford as the Lafayette Commodores travel over to Fulton. We're ready to go. Quarterback keeper, Barnes. Pickup of maybe 4 yards. And that brings up 3rd down. The Oxford offense has been effective here in the 2nd half, just a couple of costly turnovers. Third down, 3. Camper on the run. He's got the first down and more. Vincent Camper. He did not have a carry in the first half, but we're seeing a lot of him here in the 2nd half, and he's been very effective. You've got Nevin Mitchell, sort of a a small, powerful runner, but with Camper, you got a long, lanky guy, and he's able to stretch out and pick up some extra yards here and there. 1st and 10. Camper again over the left side, still running. And he's got another Oxford first down, so the Chargers and their offensive line beginning to get a push right now.
Well, it just almost appears at this point that the Oxford Chargers offensive line has a little bit more spring in its step than the Pontotoc Warriors defensive line does. And with this running back with some fresh legs coming in, just being effective at this point.
1st and 10. Ball on the 25 of Pontotoc. Mitchell back in the game now. He carries over the right side for a couple of yards. Vincent Camper needed a break. Now he's ready to go back in. Camper comes in. Mitchell goes out. Nevin Mitchell could use a break too. He's had a busy night already. An 86-yard touchdown run in the first half. The only Oxford score. 2nd down, 8 yards to go. They give it to Camper. Up the middle for about 4. So a big 3rd down play. And Scott, we're 9 minutes 55 seconds to go in the game, and I don't think it's too early for Oxford to start thinking strategy here. And if they don't pick up the first down, you know, they've got to get 2 scores somewhere along the line, down by 11. Do they go for the field goal here or try to get the touchdown? Mitchell twisting and turning over the left end, and he's going to be shy of the first down.
Well, I think first and foremost they have to hold on to the football in order to try to get a score, and that's something that has that they've had a hard time doing here in the 3rd quarter.
So they bring Camper back in. Nevin Mitchell limping a little bit as he comes off. 4th down and 1. Big 4th down play. Ball on the Pontotoc 16. Camper, left side, first down. We're just seeing powerful running now by Vincent Camper. And I think you're right, the fresh legs paying off. First and 10 for Oxford as they are driving. Ball on the Pontotoc 11. 16-7, Warriors lead it. Camper again, and this time he's stopped. Ellis Scott met him at the line of scrimmage, and there was nothing there.
The trainer's currently working on Mitchell on the sideline. Looks as though he has a cramp. We've seen that quite a bit here on the Oxford sidelines in the 2nd half.
Second down, 10 yards to go, so it appears that Oxford can pick up a first down without having to score a touchdown. They pitch it to Redden. He runs over a man and into the end zone. Touchdown. Andre Redden. Andre Redden with the score. And now it's 16-13. Chadwick comes on to attempt the extra point. Try and make this a 2-point ball game. No, they go for 2. And Petrie in the end zone. A little trickery from Oxford. Gowan was the holder. And they caught Pontotoc off guard, and that makes it a 1-point game. 16-15. with 7:54 to play in the game. We'll take a timeout. You're watching high school football on Galaxy Channel 12 and Cable Channel 7 in Pontotoc. Morgan with you in Oxford as the Chargers have just scored and connected on a two-point conversion play to make it 16-15, 7:54 to go in the ball game. And this one not over by any means. Kickoff short, bobbled by Winter. He brings it back out to the 26. So Pontotoc, they've got to try to do something here. Plenty of time left in the ball game.
Brad, by far the most impressive drive that we've seen by Oxford tonight is they were able to sustain it, move the ball down the field primarily by the run, and then the exclamation point was the touchdown to cut this and really make it a ball game here late in the game.
Well, they've sustained 2 or 3 drives, but they haven't been able to finish them because of turnovers. There's Ellis Scott on the handoff. He's got a couple of yards. Oxford had a very impressive drive to start this second half. Got down to the Pontotoc 10 before they fumbled. But they were able to finish that one off. And then the trick play on the 2-point conversion made it 16-15. McBride, the quarterback, talking with White. And now penalty markers come down.
Probably delay of game or illegal motion, one of the two. Illegal motion.
Illegal procedure. So the momentum has definitely swung in favor of Oxford.
Well, you felt coming out of halftime with Oxford holding on, so to speak, in the first half, and you felt like they had a chance if they could put some things together in the second half to really make a ball game out of it.
Second down, 12. McBride rushed, gets a pass away. Dedrick Clark with the reception.
I believe we're going to have a face mask added on to that at the end.
Uh-oh. And that's a killer, too, because I think he may have lost yards on that reception. He would have been better off to let the ball drop. Personal foul. Face mask against Oxford, and man. So a big break for Pontotoc. That will result in a first down.
Brad, I believe that's the third personal foul that we've seen called tonight.
First and 10 for the Warriors. 6:30 to go in the game. McBride, the quarterback. They pitch it. Ball loose on the ground. Clark with the recovery. And what a critical play that could have been. We've got an official's timeout on the field. We'll keep it right here. There's a penalty marker way back at the 45-yard line. And they're going to pick it up. So whatever that was, it must not have been too important.
Not too offensive.
Only a mildly offensive play there. .603 to go in the game, and this game a lot closer than many people expected coming in here. Oxford losing their season opener, but you know, they say most teams improve the most from game 1 to game 2, and certainly that appears to be the case for the Chargers. Pontotoc, on the other hand, very impressive on opening night with a 31-0 shutout of Bruce. And they've played well at times here tonight, but they've just been answered by some good offense from Oxford. Oxford just refusing to go away.
Well, when you got a young team like Oxford and Pontotoc having them backed up like it did in the first half, you almost sense like they almost needed another touchdown to really seize the momentum a little bit more in that first half.
Under 6 minutes to go in the game now. And we had a player to jump.
The Hankies flying a little bit more regular here in the fourth quarter.
Offsides against Oxford.
The officials may be getting a little cranky as the heat is getting to them as well here later on in the game.
Second down, 13. They throw it deep down the sidelines. Ron Winter with a fabulous catch at the 25, and that's a huge play.
I believe that's the first time I've ever witnessed two receivers for the same team diving after the same football on a long bomb.
Well, it doesn't matter. They had plenty of hands out there, and two of them came up with it for Pontotoc.
You usually see a double coverage on a receiver, not single coverage on two receivers side by side.
First and 10 for Pontotoc in Oxford territory at the 25. They give it to Scott. Left side running, pickup of about 5. Pontotoc just continues to come at you with these big bruising running backs.
They also are making you respect them deep because they have burned Oxford now twice with deep balls down the field. This really helps sustain drives and get momentum going back in their favor.
The big play in the first half, the halfback pass from Brian Rucker that helped set up a Pontotoc score. As the tomahawk chop begins now from the Pontotoc band across the way.
This is a key defensive stand here as Pontotoc has been able to go now deep into Oxford territory, and the Chargers are going to try to mount this comeback and win this ball game. Definitely they're going to have to hold them out right here.
Well, if nothing else, Pontotoc has already shown that they can hit a long field goal, and they look to be well within Bass's range if they can't pick up the first down. So certainly Oxford doesn't want to let them get any closer at this point. Handoff, Scott, right side, driving for the first down.
This is the point of the game where you just hand it to these big backs and let them go right up through the middle of the line and just see how many people they can carry with them.
Oxford player slow getting up. It looks like he's all right. Greg Hollinger. First and 10. Pontotoc crowd really into it now. .435 to go in the game. Penalty markers come down. Nothing doing that time for Ellis Scott.
I believe we're going to have procedure against the Warriors. goes wrong, the penalty is going to go against the Chargers.
Too many men on the field.
A good plan if you can get away with it.
Second down 3 for Pontotoc. They give it to Clark, twisting and turning his way down to the 3.
Brad, you're just seeing a lot of the Oxford defenders at this point with their hands on their hips, limping around. They're just kind of banged up at this point, and Pontotoc knocking on the door. They're just going to have to reach down and try to keep Pontotoc out of this end zone any way they can.
Well, Oxford came out at the start of this drive, looked very good on defense, and then the personal foul penalty is really what killed them. Ellis Scott, touchdown. Touchdown, Pontotoc. 22-15. They lead by 7. Let's see what they elect to do. They're going to try the point after. To make it an 8-point game. If they went for the 2-point conversion, that would just about put it out of reach. Snap is down, the kick is up, and it's good. So with 3:48 to go in the game, Pontotoc 23, Oxford 15. You're watching high school football on cable channel 12 in Oxford and channel 7 in Pontotoc. Welcome back to Oxford. 23-15. Pontotoc on top. 3:48 to go in the game as we await the kickoff. Plenty of time still for the Chargers. Line drive kick. Redden picks it up. He's out to about the 16-yard line. Let's see who that was on the tackle. 81, Lane Bass. Makes a good open field stop for the Warriors. So Oxford will begin trailing 23-15. Need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. They're on their own 17-yard line. Turner Barnes, the quarterback. Nevin Mitchell, the deep back. Barnes rolling to his right. Throws complete to Keller, and that's good enough for a first down.
First time we've seen the pass utilized by Oxford in quite a while.
They've been very effective running the ball.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Oxford responds here. This is the type of game that really makes you a better team late in the game, trying to make that important drive.
Barnes, pitch, Redden. Left side, they string it out. Ellis Scott and others in on the tackle. We have a Pontotoc player slow to get up. Diedrich Clark, but it looks like he's okay. Clock running on 2:50 to go. Fourth quarter. Petrie the up back, Mitchell the deep back. Barnes back to pass, rolls to his right. Goes deep downfield. He's got Keller at the 40. A big pass play, and the Chargers are still alive.
Just when you think it may be over, the Chargers come up with a big play.
Turner Barnes able to scramble around and buy some time for his receiver, Jason Keller, to get a step on the Pontotoc defender. He found him at about the 39-yard line. He gets it down to the 29, 1st and 10 for the Chargers. 2:26 to go in the game. Smith in the slot to the right. Barnes rolling to his right. Again buying some time. He better get rid of it. He does so, and the ball was deflected. And we've got penalty markers on the play. Let's see what that was. Barnes almost waited too long.
Ineligible man downfield.
That's what the call is.
That would definitely have been an impressive completion, as he had a defender already hanging on his leg there, waiting as long as he could for a receiver to come open, but nothing happening there.
Well, the old rule they used to have in the NFL, he might have been considered in the grasp and sacked. But the big break for Oxford was the fact that that ball was deflected, and there were 2 or 3 Pontotoc defenders in the neighborhood, but it did fall to the ground, and that could have very easily been an interception.
Barnes showing some heart here at the end of the game, and has proven to be probably the most effective quarterback that we've seen for Oxford tonight.
Well, Gowan has been effective too. He moved the team more in the first half. They just couldn't get into the end zone, but Barnes has looked good on the last couple of drives. I think Oxford, the coaches have to be pleased with both of these quarterbacks. Barnes buying some time, throws over the middle, and it's batted down.
Nice play.
Intended for Anthony Smith. The defender was Jeffrey Hall. Good defensive play right there for Pontotoc. We've reached 2 minutes to go in the game. It brings up 2nd down, 15. Oxford trails by 8. Barnes. Again going deep down the field, and we've got some contact, and there comes the flag. Some of the Pontotoc fans wondering about the catchability.
The flag's a little bit late. You wonder in those situations if they're going to make the call, they probably need to make it automatically where there's no doubt that they thought that that's what the call was.
Pass interference is the call.
That's a big play there, as Oxford was going to be looking, I believe, at 4th down, trying to maintain possession, and now they got 1st down.
A lot of bumping on that play by both players. First and 10 Oxford. Keller wide to the right. Fortenberry to the left. They go quick pass to Keller. He slipped one tackle, and he's finally brought down. Brian Rucker, it appeared to be on the stop. But a good pickup that time.
We're just seeing many facets of their offense here for Oxford as we go from all run now to all pass, and seems to be very effective on this all pass here at the end of the game.
2nd down, 1. Ball on the Pontotoc 11-yard line. Barnes scrambling again, looks for the end zone, and the ball batted around and finally goes incomplete.
Number 22 for Pontotoc with a deflection there.
Dedrick Clark. We've got 1 minute, 12 seconds to go in the game. Second, it'll bring up third down and 1 to go. So if you're Oxford, do you try to get the first down here and then have 4 shots at the end zone with about a minute to go? Oxford with only 1 timeout left. Pontotoc has 2. Barnes rolling right, being chased, and there comes the intentional grounding flag. Ellis Scott had Barnes in a bear hug, and he threw the ball out of bounds. The big thing on that is not only the yardage on the penalty, but the loss of down.
Definitely, probably in that situation would have been better off taking the sack. Either way, the penalty is going to be bad, loss of yardage. But with this, you lose the yardage, and as you said, you lose the down as well. So
fourth down. About 18 yards to go. 1:07 to play, and Oxford calls a timeout. We'll take one as well. You're watching high school football on Channel 12 and Channel 7. We're back in Oxford, fourth down play. Barnes scrambling to his left. Tries to run down the sidelines. Well short of the first down. 58.9 seconds, and that will just about do it, Scott. Oxford mounted a valiant comeback here in the second half. They trailed 16-7 at halftime. Turned the ball over a couple of times, but fought through that to make it 16-15. Then Pontotoc put a touchdown on the board with about 3 minutes to go in the game. And then Oxford with a good-looking drive, but they just stalled out as they got it all the way down to the Pontotoc 11-yard line before an intentional grounding penalty really killed that drive. Pontotoc has it first and 10, 58.9 seconds to go in the game, and they're just going to try and run out the clock. So Pontotoc will improve to 2-0. Oxford will drop to 0-2 and travel to Ripley next week, a game that we will have here on Channel 12 in Oxford. Pontotoc plays host to South Pontotoc next week. McBride, now he downs it. Clock ticking on 20 seconds to go in the game. Stay tuned for the Cheney's Pharmacy post-game show. We'll try to have an interview with Coach Dennis Robbins.
Brad, both teams showing a lot of heart, and neither team really willing to stop fighting at any time, and looks like Pontotoc's going to come away with a win.
Well, that's it. 23-15, the final score from Oxford. We'll be back right after this.